Imagine being born into a world where almost everything, literally everything, wants you dead. A world where hunger is just this constant gnawing companion, where danger is hiding behind every single bush, and where even your own family can't always protect you. Welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're going to be looking at the absolute brutal reality of life as a lion cub. This is an epic story of survival, set right in the middle of one of the most magnificent yet unbelievably dangerous places on Earth, the African savannah. All right, let's dive right into this incredible journey.
So, when we think about the dangers a tiny cub faces, our minds usually go straight to the other big predators out there sharing the grassy plains, right? But let me ask you, what do you think is the absolute greatest threat to a newborn lion cub in this incredibly hostile world? Take a second and really think about it.
Well, the greatest threat doesn't actually come from a different species at all. It comes from other lions. It's true. When a new male lion comes in and takes over a pride, his very first act is often to systematically eliminate the existing cubs. And the reason is that this brutal act triggers the females to go back into heat, which lets the new king quickly pass on his own genes. It's nature's harshest reality, meaning the absolute biggest danger can literally come from right within their own kingdom, from their own kind.
Which brings us to Section 1, Born into a Hostile World. Because of this built-in threat from rival males, the story of every single cub has to begin in complete isolation. Let's take a look at what those first few days actually look like. A lioness will deliberately leave the safety of her pride just to give birth. She has to hide her newborns far, far away, usually beneath the shade of a lonely acacia tree. And when these cubs enter the world, they are completely blind, incredibly weak, and utterly helpless. For those first few weeks, they are entirely dependent on their mother. I mean, every single day they remain hidden is just another day survived. Without her constant presence and protection, they wouldn't last a single day out there. To put this into perspective, think about the massive, awe-inspiring power of an adult lion, a creature that can literally take down a water buffalo. But when they're first born, these cubs weigh little more than your average house cat. Being born into the wild is really just the starting line of their struggle. Moving on to Section 2, the hunger problem. As the cubs grow just a little bit older and eventually join the main pride, a brand new challenge pops up. Now, it's not just about staying hidden anymore. It's about actually getting enough to eat.
You see, lion cubs obviously can't hunt for themselves. They rely 100% on the adults to provide. But the pride operates on a very strict, frankly brutal hierarchy when it comes to mealtime. When a kill is made, the strongest male lions always get to eat first. Next in line are the lionesses, the ones who usually did the actual hunting. And the cubs? Well, the cubs eat last. Sometimes there's barely a scrap left for them. During devastating droughts, days can pass without a single ounce of food. The cubs become visibly weaker, and you can even see their ribs beginning to show through their fur. For so many of these young lions, this constant gnawing hunger becomes their very first real battle for survival.
That leads us to Section 3, Surviving the Savannah Predators. Hunger is basically just an internal clock ticking down. But once the cubs finally step out into the open savanna, the external threats multiply exponentially. The African savanna is absolutely teeming with enemies just looking for an easy meal. We're talking about hyenas, leopards, massive packs of wild dogs, crocodiles lurking right at the watering holes. I mean, even giant eagles from above can swoop down and attack very young cubs. The reality here is terrifying. A lion cub wandering just a few feet too far from its mother can disappear in mere moments.
Because of all this, much of their early life is spent drilling one absolutely vital lesson: stay close, stay alert, stay alive. Any lapse in concentration, even for a second, can easily be their last. And the danger reaches its absolute peak when the sun goes down. As night falls across the savannah, the hyena clans emerge. Now, hyenas are incredibly intelligent, remarkably patient, and they are always watching for a moment of weakness. If a cub gets separated from the pride in the dark, it becomes an instant target. There are countless stories of lionesses fiercely fighting off entire clans of hyenas just to protect their young. We're talking brutal, dusty battles in the pitch black, where deep growls echo through the night and claws meet bone. Tragically, not every cub survives these encounters.
All right, Section 4, Play is Survival Training. Yet, despite the darkness and the constant danger, life for the survivors pushes forward. And it's actually fascinating to observe how they spend their days. If you sit and watch lion cubs, you'll see them stalking insects, chasing after birds, and constantly pouncing on their siblings. On the surface, what it looks like is just innocent, adorable play. But what it actually is rigorous, vital survival training.
The savannah is a totally unforgiving classroom. Every single jump, every failed chase, and every tiny mistake is actively preparing their muscles and their instincts for adulthood. Out here, survival is literally the only lesson that matters.
Next up, Section 5, Enduring the Dry Season. They're going to need all that strength they built up for the massive environmental shifts that sweep across the landscape. Where the ultimate test always comes with the dry season.
When the dry season hits, everything changes. The water evaporates, the tall grass turns brown and brittle. Prey becomes incredibly scarce. Because of this, the pride is forced to travel farther than ever before just to find sustenance. For these young cubs, the journey is completely exhausting. You have these tiny legs struggling to keep up with massive adults under relentless, punishing heat. And in the African wilderness, falling behind can be fatal. The pride simply cannot wait.
Section 6, Growing Up. For those few that do manage to keep up, their bodies finally begin to transform. As the months pass, their fuzzy little baby spots begin to fade into those solid tawny coats we all recognize. Their muscles grow dense, their confidence surges. But growing up doesn't mean the struggle ends, you know? It just changes shape. The siblings are very soon forced down starkly contrasting paths. Male cubs face a really difficult reality. They will be violently exiled by the ruling males. They're forced into a brutal, nomadic phase where they have to wander the harsh savanna entirely alone, facing starvation, rival lions, and just endless uncertainty until they can maybe claim a pride of their own one day. For the females, well, they might be allowed to remain with their family pride, but even surrounded by their kin, survival in this unforgiving landscape is absolutely never guaranteed. Which brings us to our final section, Section 7, Beating the Impossible Odds. When we step back and look at the whole timeline, reaching adulthood is nothing short of a miracle. A lion cub that actually reaches full maturity has successfully beaten truly impossible odds. In fact, up to 80% of lion cubs will not survive to see their second birthday. 80%! They're taken by disease, picked off by predators, they succumb to starvation, or they're killed in conflict with other lions. Nature is just deeply, deeply unforgiving. We are all so used to seeing the majestic, roaring king of the savannah, the fearless hunters, the powerful protectors. But every single adult lion you see today was once that blind, helpless cub the size of a house cat hiding beneath a tree. They are the ultimate survivors of one of the toughest, most brutal childhoods in the entire animal kingdom. So, I want to leave you with this. Next time you see the king of the savannah, will you look past the crown and remember the helpless cub that fought against all odds just to survive? Really think about that. Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer. I'll catch you in the next one.